looks nice, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm excited about this mother. Cool. This is just a cool motorcycle, I think. I don't really care what anybody else thinks. So I wanted to take a second and talk about some of the most exciting fabrication intense projects we have going on in the shop right now. One thing that's really neat when it goes into, custom bikes is that you fit the bike for the customer. Can other people ride it? Sure, but it's a one-off, one-of-a-kind made for them and nobody else. And they can ride that bike, for days and never be sore or out of sorts. This bike is cool. I'd love to tell you about it, but Jill thinks I should shut up.
That was perfect. No notes.
Okay, moving on. This bike started out as a 1995 FXSTC, or Softail Custom. It was immaculately taken care of. This guy that owns this bike, he brought us this bike, and we had this original idea, and it was one of those ones. What's so cool about it is that we started off with kind of a plan, and then it just kind of rolled into this, completely crazy custom project. We ordered up a Paco wide shock Springer for it, and this isn't actually the motor that belongs to this bike. It's just a donor motor that's, a placeholder. We did a Baker Franken tranny with a kicker because it's got just like that old school bobber retro kind of look to it, It's getting air ride, custom rear fender. We shortened the struts so they didn't hang out and look silly with that. Obviously a set of custom wheels. It'll have hog halters brakes, just like a lot of the bikes that we do here, with hog halters. Barrel style oil tank, dome sides, custom one-off exhaust. They were final TIG welded and then sanded down, and I mean, they just scream cool to me, This is just, it's just one of those things that you can just see the labor of love, the work, the effort that was put into the bike. You can see, the style that was kind of going for there. Here you see yet another one of our signature style handlebars that we do. These ones much taller. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about them with the rest of the bike being so kind of stubby and squatty, but after doing them and the customer throwing a leg over and he put his hands, this is where he wanted them. And he's absolutely in love with them, and that's really all that matters to me. This bike is actually a 1979 lowrider shovelhead. I would have been 7 years old when this bike came out. The quintessential Harley Davidson is orange and black. I remember seeing this black and orange lowrider when I was a kid and just absolutely falling in love with it. I gotta be honest, I don't think I'm gonna sell this bike. Just something about my childhood, I don't know, bike issues, instead of daddy issues or mommy issues, you got bike issues. And we're doing what I call a resto mod, really. This is gonna be like my version of the Night Train. I was able to come across and find OEM original fenders for it, had different gas tank. And he did have other parts that come with it, which we're putting it back to original. They had mismatched wheels on it. I happen to have a set of 9-spoke wheels, exact OEM number for 79 lowrider. So down to the frame it went, powder coated the frame, sent the tins off to my boy Eric in Michigan to have him restore them. You got to be really smart when you put bikes like this together, because you either have to go full into custom, or you got to pay homage and respect to, how it came. And so this one's going to be black, 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 black everywhere, and orange, and that's it. I don't know, it just has that 70s quintessential, like, light little lowrider, super glide type of look to it. Like, I just get so excited when I start thinking about it coming together. One of my off-duty, off-time projects to be able to, remember why I got into this in the first place. Too often, motorcycle shops find themselves with just big, excessive, inventory of parts. Sometimes you buy parts for a project and they don't go, and so they end up, just piling up, compiling. And Donnie Smith actually gave me this idea, I don't know how long ago, is you build a bike out of your leftover parts. And so, I had this frame from wherever, and I had a swing arm from here, and I had a front end, and set of wheels, and so you just start putting it together. And this is a full frame up, hidden shock or soft tail with a 127 motor in it, an extra Jim's transmission case. You had all these pieces and parts. Oil tank I wasn't using, and then my wife became the mayor. Well, several years ago, I built a bike for the police department. I was just kind of shocked that Deadwood PD didn't have their own police bike, and decided to donate one. And they use it, man. They use it all the time. They use it for patrol. Makes me so proud. And no other police department in the United States has a bike like Deadwood PD has. So my wife called me up while she was at the fire station with all the firefighters on speakerphone, and she was like, "Oh, hey, you built a bike for the police department. You think you might want to do one for the fire department for them to raffle off too?" So yeah, all of a sudden now it becomes a raffle bike. So we're going to do something, for the firefighters. This little bobber right here. These motorcycles, they end up not just being, a form of transportation, right? They end up being these things that just, excite people's soul. This customer, he's from Montana. Long story short, the bike had been sitting, in the back of a barn for I don't know how many years. We took it all apart, down to the frame, sandblasted the frame, started making the necessary little frame mods and trims, and then we went to work on rebuilding it into what he wanted and what he envisioned. That's what's really exciting. So with this one, this is an original Harley-Davidson frame, original generator shovel head, and we cleaned up the frame, custom rear fender. We put some rib in it to match the ribs on the gas tank that we custom mounted, custom did for them, custom oil tank, custom set of exhaust coming around. We brought the rear pipe around to the side here because of magnetos going here. Custom made the sissy bar slash rear fender mount. It's gonna have a tail light right here. Very simplistic. Another set of our signature style handlebars that we do, but we custom did them for him. And then he wanted a narrow glide front end, hog halters brakes. We did a sproter, so we kept the whole business side of the bike nice and clean. You don't see the sprocket. You don't see the brake caliper, the front brake caliper and rotor on this side. One of the neatest things about this is we're doing, like this skeletonized belt guard. And then with that, to kind of carry that, a little bit further, we did this fork brace. Everybody thinks, on choppers and stuff, front fenders are silly. And I get that. I couldn't agree more. But at the same time, you got to have some stabilization, because if your legs are only bolted or connected to the triple tree here, but then down here at the axles, the only other place where it's clamped, and it's technically not even clamped on the left side, well, it just provides kind of a unstable ride, a ride that is not going to be the most, is not going to be the best for like coming through corners and things like that. So I machined down the fender mounts on the fork sliders, and then Dan made this really trick little fork brace slash, stabilizer. It just adds an extra point of contact between the fork sliders and just creates an incredible amount of stability. So it's not just about an old school cool, bike with, generator shovel head in it. It's about a bike that also, performs as well as it looks, right? I'm not sure what model or what year the frame is. I think, you know, it's obviously a 1957 or earlier frame. If I had to guess, I'd say it was like early 50s, 1952 or something like that. The generator shovel was made from 1966 to 1969. This is specifically in 1968. So that's what makes, in my opinion, a custom bike, is that it's just a bunch of custom parts that kind of flow together and just kind of make sense, kind of feed off one another, kind of complement each other. You know, it's just, this thing is just going to be an absolute blast to ride. And when he gets off it and parks it, you know, walks away, there's going to be a crowd gathering around it when it's over. I've never been much of a quote-unquote panhead guy, and by what I mean by panhead is, I mean the motor that Harley-Davidson built starting in 1948 going up to 1965 is what they call the panhead motor, because the rocker boxes look like pans, you know, that just flipped upside down. I scored pieces and parts of a panhead motor. It's actually complete, just not fully assembled panhead motor from this estate sale. I decided, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna build a panhead. And nobody in particular, not for anybody, just kind of for me, which just like everything else I have, it's for sale. But this is like my quote unquote version of what a Hydroglide would be like. In 1949, they started with the hydraulic front end from the Springers. And then they, in 1958, on the Big Twins, they went to suspension in the rear. So 1949 and 1957 was what was called a Hydroglide, because it had a hydraulic front end. And this is kind of like my version of a Hydroglide. It was mainly done with pieces and parts left over from the shop. It was a Craft-Tech rigid frame, and then I built the panhead motor. I had a ratchet top 4-speed. You know, we did a barrel style oil tank. We made the exhaust. It's got 18-inch wheels front and rear, which is kind of critical for me. It just kind of gives it that balance look on a little bobber like this. You know, short little bars, 7-inch headlight, all of the things, right? We fabricated the fenders from scratch. We did these neat little cutouts on the tank. It's not quite like a dish tank, at least from the top. We narrowed the foot controls in about 3/4 of an inch to bring everything in, you know, nice and tight. It's just gonna be a cool little bike. And the next step is to assemble the transmission, doing that next. And then we'll get the primary on, and then I'll start wiring it, and we'll ceramic coat the pipes, and that's it. It's time to ride. We're gonna rock and roll on this thing. Yeah, it's just a cool little bike, you know. It just feels good. It kind of represents a modern take on a classic style. Like and subscribe if you know what's good for you.